Have you ever quit something early? Have you ever fallen short of the expectations that you set for yourself because something was hard? Do you feel trapped, like you're isolated, alone, that there's no way to escape the current situation that you're in? Are you dissatisfied with the person that you currently are? Do you feel like you could be better, that you could be exceptional, that you could be uncommon? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then this video is for you. I'm going to share with you the tips and tools that you can use to callous your mind, to become so mentally hard that nothing can hurt you or break you. So stay tuned.
I will be the last to fall.
So today we're going to talk about mental toughness. And this YouTube channel is geared more towards runners, especially ultra runners, endurance athletes, those that are really going long miles, because that is when you really have to have mental toughness. But what we're going to talk about today applies to every aspect of your life. If you can become mentally tough in all areas of your life, everything becomes easier. The way you perceive things, how you get through life, your enjoyment, your satisfaction, your fulfillment, everything will change. So even though we're going to be talking about running today, this applies to absolutely everything. And I've got the top 5 things that you need to know to become mentally tough so that nothing can hurt you and nothing can break you. And where this comes from is it's something that I've learned. It's been a journey for me personally, and it's something that I'm still journeying in or journeying through. I am not, I'm not the mentally toughest, the mentally hardest person on the planet by any means. But I'll tell you what, I am definitely tougher than I was yesterday, than I was a week ago, a month ago, years ago. If you were to look at me mentally, say just even a couple of months ago, over the last couple of years, you'd see this fat, lazy mind. And at least that's the way that I feel about it. And in looking at me, you may not see that. I'm typically a pretty happy person. I've done a lot of things that are hard that most people would consider even insane, that they wouldn't even consider doing. Doing 50Ks, 50 milers, 100 milers, runs through, the sandy desert for miles, dredging through sand in northern Arizona and southern Utah, bearing through the heat, the open exposed areas with cacti providing the only shade for 100 miles in eastern Arizona with temperatures that almost got into the 90s. And then, just recently doing the I'm Tough, traversing, over 40,000 feet of elevation change and running for 32 hours straight with no sleep. Those aren't easy things to do. But I'll tell you what, mentally, I was still weak. I haven't posted this video yet, but there is a race that I think will haunt me forever, but I'm grateful for it because it changed my attitude and it changed me. And that was the Bryce Canyon 100. And that was the point where I saw how mentally weak that I was, the flaws that I had, because I gave up on that race. I was a quitter, and it is hard to say that. It is uncomfortable. When you look in the mirror, you know what is going on inside of you. And when I looked in the mirror, I knew I had quit. I had given up. I had fallen short what I was capable of. And it wasn't easy. I got dehydrated. I got nauseated. I couldn't keep up with nutrition. I was a wreck physically, mentally, and emotionally. But you know what? I could have gone on. I still believe I could have finished that race. But I found so many excuses to justify me quitting and falling short that at the time it felt okay. But it was not. At that point in my life, I'm an emergency physician. I don't know if I've ever talked about that, but I work in the ER. I'm a doctor, and it took years of training, and it was crap hard to do all the studying, all the work, getting through anatomy, staying up late, cramming, going through rotations, and being up for over 30 hours straight, taking care of the most critical and sickest patients in the hospital, trauma patients. Patients that were dying, sitting down with families and telling them that they would never get to see their loved one alive again. And it was one of the most toughest things that I've ever gone through. And it's still not easy, still in some of those same circumstances right now. But mentally, I was getting burned out. Even though I'd kind of reached, the pinnacle of where I was going to be, I started to settle, and mentally I started getting lazy. Physically, I was getting lazy too. I put on like 25 to 30 pounds, and, I'm not a big guy. I'm 5'8". When I'm fit, I weigh about 145, and I was up to 170. I had to buy new clothes because my shirts, my pants weren't fitting. And I've seen pictures of myself at this point in life, and I was fat. I was not in a healthy place. I wasn't eating healthy. I wasn't exercising. And mentally, I was getting weak. Mentally, I was getting burned out with dealing with all the hard things that we do in medicine. And those of you that are in medicine will understand this. It was burning me out. I wanted to quit. And there were times it got so bad that when I would drive to work, I thought about running off the road and getting in a car accident, not wanting to kill myself, but just anything, any excuse that would justify me not having to go to work because I didn't want to face another day, another swearing patient, drunk patient, someone that was drug seeking for pain medicines, lying to us, cursing at my nurses, calling me all sorts of horrible things, getting punched, bit, pinched, everything to try to take care of people. And mentally, I was breaking down and I was giving up. And that Bryce Canyon race was kind of the pinnacle of everything. And I was dissatisfied, I was burnout, and mentally, I was unfit and I was unhealthy. But I had a desire to change. And that's the first tip that I've got with mental toughness, that you have to have a desire to change, that when you look in that mirror, that you own up to who you are. And if you are not where you can be, if you are not pushing yourself in your career, with your family, doing the things that you know that you need to do with your health, then you need to take stock. And if you can even get just a spark of desire, that spark can lead to a bonfire flame that will change you forever and will completely affect the way that you live and the way that you see everything. And again, I'm going to focus on running now, but I promise you that this can completely change every aspect of your life. But it starts with a desire and it starts with a why. When I started getting into ultramarathons, when I really started running, it all started because I love running. It was an escape for me. It was just something I've always enjoyed ever since I was a little kid. And, the farther and the faster I could run, the better. And when I started doing ultramarathons, I couldn't really explain why I wanted to do something that is absolutely nuts, to stay up for, possibly over 24 hours, to do some race with no prize, with nothing other than the satisfaction of knowing that you had done something that was hard. And, and I pushed and I trained, I got stress training injuries, but it was something that I wanted to do. But I couldn't really define it within myself until after I failed at Bryce Canyon. When things got hard, when mentally I got to that dark place and I outright gave up and I quit, it wrecked me, and I vowed that I would not be that person again. At that time, I was a quitter, but I did not want to be a quitter. I did not want to be someone that gave up when things got tough, because life is tough. You can try and take the easy route, you can try and coast through life, but I can guarantee you that even if you're trying to go the easy way, the life is going to give you hard, demanding challenges. And some of the greatest challenges you're going to face are within yourself. But if you have a why, if you know what it is that you want, when it gets hard, you can remember why you're doing this. And you can tell yourself that you're not going to give up because your why is stronger than your desire to quit. And you can become better. So start with your why. Have at least a spark of desire. And then number 2, you've got to do something that stretches you. If you're doing, what I would consider shorter races, it's all relative. But, if you can only run, half a mile, or even walk, if you can only walk half a mile, and that is the best that you can do, you can start to push yourself to become uncomfortable. You can say, you know what? I'm going to jog. And I'm going to jog until my mind tells me to quit, that I can't go any further. And then I'm going to go to that next tree, that next stop sign, that next turn in the trail, that you are going to go beyond what you think that you are capable of, because you are capable of more than you know. And I promise you that when you hit that wall and you think you can't go any further, that there is more left in your tank. And if you will tell yourself that you can go even just a couple more steps, You're going to be better than you were yesterday. And as you do that over time, you're going to become more mentally and physically strong and tough to the point where you can do a half a marathon, an ultra marathon, a multi-day race, whatever it is. What you are currently capable of is not your maximum. I promise you that. I believe that there are seeds of greatness inside of all of us, that inside of every one of you, there is a badass. And they may be trapped deep down a dungeon inside of you. And it is a dark, hard road to find that person. But if you will go down there and unlock that cage, you will find on the other end that there is so much more that you can do. But it starts with doing hard things. This is not an easy road. Life is not easy. And becoming uncommon, becoming exceptional, becoming the badass that you can be is not easy. I'll promise you that. If you're looking for the easy way, the 4-week program to becoming uncommon and exceptional, this is not it. This is a path that is probably going to take years, but you will notice results quickly once you really start to push yourself. You'll notice changes on this road to callous your mind, to become mentally tough. And as you unlock those doors, you'll be able to go further and become more than you originally thought you could. But if I can promise you anything, it is not going to be easy, because to callous your mind requires you to go to hard and dark places and push through that. And number 3, and I think this one is critical, is you cannot give yourself a way out. When you decide that you want to change and you want to do something hard, and you set a goal for yourself, you cannot give up. You cannot give yourself a way out, because once you do, you lose all of that mental toughness that you had, and you're going to break yourself down. You're going to become negative, and it's going to make it harder to do that next time. And this is extremely hard, but this is why it's so important to start with a why, to have something that is going to motivate you, because I promise you, once you start to do something hard, you are going to hit a wall. You're going to hit a point where you're telling yourself, it's not worth it. No one is watching you. You're not good enough. You can't do this. Just quit. Just stop the suffering, make it end, and you can just go sit on the couch, watch Netflix, whatever, eat your donut, eat your ice cream, and you can be comfortable again. Well, this isn't about being comfortable. It's about intentionally becoming uncomfortable, because that is the only way you're going to callous and harden your mind. And so you have to know going in that when you've set this goal, when you've set this hard thing, maybe it's a half marathon race, that when you're out there training or when you're in the middle of that race, that when you hit that wall, when that dark part of you says that you are not good enough to just quit, that you can say, know what? Maybe I can't finish this. I don't know. This is something that's new for you. But you know what you can do? You can say, I can go to the next aid station. I will power walk, to the next mile marker, to the next corner, to the next bend in the trail, whatever it is. Just go beyond where you are. Just push a little bit further, but do not let yourself quit. You may get to a point where you can't hit a cutoff, to where you physically are not capable in your current state to go further, or the race will not allow you to continue going on. And that is fine. If you push past it, if you don't give up, then you are failing forward. You're going more, but do not give yourself a way out. Figure out how you're going to be able to get past the obstacle that you're at right now. Figure out how you can do this. Figure out what you can do. Number 4, mental toughness is a lifestyle. A lot of what I'm talking to you about are things that I've learned from elite athletes, people who are exceptional, who are uncommon amongst uncommon people. And one of the people that I've been listening to and following, trying to learn from recently, is David Goggins. And I'm not going to go into his story. You can go on YouTube, look him up, look up his backstory if you're not familiar. He's probably one of the mentally toughest people that I've ever seen or heard from. And it's not all words, it's actions. If you look at his accomplishments, they're absolutely insane. But one of the things he talks about is doing something that sucks every day. And that's number 4. If you want to become mentally tough, it's just like anything else, becoming physically tough, becoming, healthy with your diet. It's something that you have to put the reps in. You don't just get up and run 100 miles one day with absolutely no training whatsoever. It takes effort, and you have to put in the reps, put in the miles. I don't know the exact mileage before I ran my first 100 mile, but I can guarantee you it was hundreds, if not thousands of miles of training to get to that starting line prepared to be able to finish. If you want to become mentally tough, you have to put in the reps. What are the reps? Getting uncomfortable, doing something that sucks every day, doing something that pushes you every day, because that is what's going to build that mental toughness, the mental muscles to be able to get through anything. You have to do something that sucks and embrace the suck. Say, heck yes, this is horrible. And you know what? It is awesome because I am tough enough to handle this and push through this. The old me would have given up. The old me wasn't good enough. But the me right now in this sucky situation is good enough. And I am welcoming this challenge because it will push me to the next level and make the me tomorrow when I wake up, look in that mirror, say, you know what? You are a badass. You are doing things that you never thought you could do. And heck yes. Number 5, you've got to be patient. This isn't something that's going to flip a switch overnight. They're going to be small victories. And like I said, where I'm at now from a few weeks ago is a huge drastic change because I finally figured out what was wrong with me. And it wasn't the situation. It wasn't the people that I worked with. It wasn't the patients that I'm dealing with. It wasn't the specialty that I've got into. It wasn't everything that's wrong with healthcare. What was wrong was me. I was looking at everything negative. I was absorbing all that darkness, and it was all I was focusing on. And I was looking for reasons to justify my sucky attitude and wanting to quit, to give me the reason to quit and get out of that situation. But by realizing where I was, by pushing myself, by making myself mentally harder through that physical training, through my running, through bodybuilding exercises that I'm doing that I absolutely hate. I've never been a weightlifter. I haven't picked up weights since I was in high school. But I'm pushing myself to do things that are uncomfortable, and I revel in it because I know that that is making me tougher. And last night I had a shift at the ER, and it's probably one of the worst shifts I've had in terms of just absolute sheer volume for the entire shift that I've had. But by the end of that shift, I was jacked up and I was so amped up that I couldn't fall asleep for hours. I got home after midnight, over probably 2 hours when my shift was supposed to end. But I was so amped, I couldn't sleep because I had taken that shift and I had crushed it, and I had seen more patients per hour than I had seen in years. And I felt amazing because I knew that mentally, I overcame all of those challenges that had been bogging me down, and I was able to break through that because of the physical training that had built my mental toughness. And I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm nothing special. I'm just a scrawny 5'8", asthmatic with allergies who's given up in life before, who came from rural Idaho, from a small high school graduating class from nowhere. And, I'm not anything special. I promise you that. But I have become better than I was, and I know that you can become better than you are right now. But you have to have a why. You have to want to become better, and you have to be honest with yourself and own up what your shortcomings are so that you can change those and change yourself. You have to be willing to do something that is going to push you and stretch you, and you can't give yourself a way out. When you hit that dark spot, you're going to push through it, become better, and you're going to do something that sucks every day. You're going to build those mental reps so that you are so hard, mentally tough and calloused that nothing can hurt you or break you. And again, be patient. Enjoy those small victories. Know that if you come short, but you still exceeded who you were before, you've had a victory in that failure. And if you keep pushing and failing forward and getting those small victories, they're going to add up. And in a few weeks, months, years, you're going to be a completely different person, and nothing will be able to touch you in life. So get out there, exercise, hit the trails, hit the track, hit the treadmill, whatever you need to do for your runs to prepare for that next hard challenge. Or if there's something else, cross training, swimming, cycling, if it's, reading a book, if you haven't pushed yourself to read, to focus, to learn something new, that might be the mental challenge that you need. But do something hard. Do something that sucks and embrace the suck, because it will build your mind into a tank that nobody can touch and nothing will be able to stop you.